we are going to be diving into a very important conversation surrounding the idea of purpose, of passion, of dream jobs. Ultimately, my goal is to crush and dismantle this idea that we all must have one overarching purpose, one overarching meaning that we lead our life with to be of value in this world. I don't subscribe to that. I actually want to break through and beyond this idea in my everyday life. And in this specific video, I want to share with you my current revelations on the subject. And I want to take a moment to give tribute and honor to the other YouTube channels that have touched on this topic, that have inspired me to continue the dichotomy surrounding this topic. I'm gonna link those videos down below, and after you're finished with this video, please go watch their takes, because it was a pleasure to hear, see, and listen to these individuals speak on their own experiences within this idea. So I have some notes here scribbled down, and if you see me glancing down at them, it's because I don't want to miss my points. I have a lot on my heart that I want to give to you today, that I want to share with you today. And so I've spent some time writing down some of my thoughts, some of my ideas, some of my beliefs that I want to share with you today. I'd like to start this video by saying, hi, my name is Pau, and I don't have a passion. I don't have a purpose. I don't have a dream job because I do not dream of labor. I believe that it is a disservice to limit oneself to one specific thing, practice, job, career, etc. We are multifaceted beings with the ability to have, be, and do whatever we want in this lifetime. So why would we limit ourselves to just one thing? We are ever changing, ever evolving, beautiful, complex creatures with the ability to experience, touch, feel, create. Yet, the most commonly asked question among us just so happens to be, what do you do? As in, what is your career? How do you make the monies? What is your job title? And quite frankly, I think that that is fucked. Fucked because I think that that's probably the least interesting thing about one's self. I simply do not comply with the idea that what we do to make a living is equal to our vastness, to our depth, to the things that make us who we are. I remember being asked the question, what do you want to be when you grow up, as a little girl, and feeling overwhelmed with the amount of options and possibilities. And very quickly I found that that would be the most difficult decision that I would ever have to make. And it saddens me to know that we instill in youth from the ripe age of 4, 5, 6 that we must first become something other than exactly who we are to be of value and of worth in this world. I simply do not subscribe to that idea. If you're anything like me, you spend a lot of time asking yourself questions like, why am I here? Who am I? What is the meaning of life? What is my purpose here on earth? And if you're even more like me, You've fought yourself, and you've fought with this concept and idea that we must somehow find a way to monetize the things that fill us to the brim with joy. The things that light us up in this world must become a way for us to make a living. Only because we recognize that we live in a place where identity is so closely tied to our career. And if you're even more like me, you recognize the fact that it is extremely difficult to live a life with time spent doing things that you don't enjoy. The capitalistic society that we live in doesn't leave much room for those questions, nor does it highlight any possible answers to those questions. I realize now that I've felt alone in my uncertainty of the answers to those questions, not because I'm the only one asking myself those questions, but because we live in a society that places more emphasis on the things that it has deemed important, like a college degree, a high-paying job, and a title at work that will somehow give us or give our egos the external validation that we need, that will somehow complete this personal quest for identity. That once we have this dream job, once our salary is above this many digits, then and only then will we know the meaning of life. Then and only then will all of the pieces to the puzzle come together. But that is simply make-believe, because you will not find true importance or meaning outside of you. And if you are one of the lucky ones who does, it will not sustain you. It will not sustain you in the way that creating meaning in your own life will. This brings me to my next point, which is that life does not bring meaning to us. We bring meaning to life. After all, we are living in the confines of a broken system that we have created and continue to endorse. So my question for you is, what do you want to bring life to? What ideas, hobbies, beliefs, relationships, or otherwise do you want to feed with your life force? I ask this because we so often push this narrative that once we get here, once we make this amount of money, once we move from this place to the other place, that everything will feel good, that the dust will settle, and that the answers will come closely behind the paycheck and the title. But that's simply not true. We live in a world in which we need money to survive. But life is not about survival. For me, it's about the beauty that exists within any given moment. It's my first cup of coffee in the morning. It is doing something that I've been curious about for a long time for the first time. It's about finding the meaning in the small things just as much as the big things. If you didn't already know, your time is the most valuable resource, tool, and teacher that we all have the gift of knowing. But unlike money, once we spend it, we don't get it back. So how do you want to spend your time? How do you want to enjoy your time. Our egos want to live on forever. That is why so often so many of us take the safe route. We follow behind the footsteps of those who came before us, believing wholeheartedly that if we follow this recipe for success, we'll make it to the top without ever having to fall. But how often do we ask ourselves what success means to us? And how often have you chosen someone else's definition before even considering that your definition may be completely different? When I dropped out of college, I had a mental breakdown. I'm talking sobbing, crying, pounding headache from the pain that I was inducing myself. I thought that if I decided to leave and never come back, there was no way in hell that I would make it in this world. There was no way that I would be presented with the same opportunities, or that I would be able to enjoy myself, because I would be so worried with the constant worry and fear that I wouldn't be able to survive. But here I am, almost 2 years later, not only surviving, but knowing for myself each and every day that even when I don't know the answers, I know that I have chosen something that is true to who I am, despite being told that the only way to be happy and to find success in this life is to do it everyone else's way. And that doesn't mean that I don't have fears. That doesn't mean that I don't worry. But it means that I get to lead a life that is mine. There's no way to guarantee that if you follow the recipe that they have given us, that you won't fail. And I have a hard time understanding this fear with failure, only because I recognize that every time I fail, I'm closer to growth, I'm closer to knowledge, I'm closer to a version of myself that I hadn't quite unlocked before I fell flat on my face. And that's what's funny about it, is that you are never guaranteed joy or love or success, but you do get to choose for yourself. That's like the greatest gift that we have, in my opinion. Free will and getting to exercise that. So, I don't have a dream job. I don't dream of labor. I don't have a singular passion or a singular purpose, because I believe that on my journey here on earth, I will have many different ways of being, of doing, of giving, of showing up in this world for myself and others. I refuse to reduce myself down to a title. I don't have a singular purpose because I am purpose. My purpose is in my pulse. Your purpose is in your pulse. Your career does not have to be your purpose. Your purpose does not have to be your career. Who you are is not your career. Your career is not who you are. Passion is not purpose. Purpose is not passion. You can find passion in your purpose, and you can find purpose in your passion. Passion does not come to you, you create passion. Purpose does not come to you, you create purpose. The meaning of life does not one day come and knock on your door, waiting for you to answer, but instead, It exists simultaneously everywhere you look, everywhere you go, in every experience, in every person that you meet, in every relationship that you form. It is there. It is up to you to see it, it is up to you to unlock it, and it is up to you to choose it. That's not to say you can't create meaning in your work life, because absolutely you can. Some people come right out of the womb and they know exactly what they are meant for, or so they think at least, and they will commit the rest of their lives to accomplishing said thing. And that's okay. That's beautiful too. But that's not all of us, and it doesn't have to be. There's something to be said for the humans who find contentment beyond worldly achievements. There is something to be said for those of us who want to give our curiosity a place in this world, a fighting chance at discovering the unknown. For those of us who question the status quo and who dream of existing outside of it, I see you. I see you, and I love you. I want you to ask yourself, if money was no object and all of your basic needs were met, how would you enjoy spending your time? If we could completely destroy this idea of laziness, because what even is that? Laziness implies like you don't want to do anything. Who on this planet hasn't had a moment in time where they just wanted to do nothing? And why is that so wrong? Why is it so wrong? It's not wrong. I'll tell you, it's not wrong to just want to sit underneath the sun and take in the breeze, smile at the sun, sit with a tree. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We have to dismantle this idea of productivity being at the forefront of our minds. It's not the most important thing. If anything, being is the most important thing. Knowing how to be present in a moment and to squeeze the juiciness out of any given moment in time is a skill that so many of us lack, because we're more concerned with producing and consuming than we are with letting the present be enough for us. If we could only just find satisfaction in the present, we would diminish the amount of suffering that we experience in this lifetime. And suffering is a given of life, yes, but we can choose to which extent we want to suffer. We can't always control what comes our way, but we can choose how to respond to it. And so, I say, I live in a world where I have to have money to eat, to have a home, to go places. So I say, challenge accepted. But I will not give up the hollerings of my heart in exchange for more, when everything that I need already exists within me. We can all begin to prioritize the hollerings of our hearts by simply deciding that who we are is, was, and always will be more than enough. Let's choose to adopt the idea that by listening to ourselves and our heart's desires, we pave the way by leading by example, by embodying our truth and inner power and innate value. I'm living the dream because I exist and because I am here. And that is enough. That is enough. I don't have a dream job. I don't dream of labor. I dream of the freedom that comes with choosing to allow being here to be the greatest gift of all. To spend my time doing things that honor my existence, that honor the human that I am becoming each and every day, allowing myself to shed, allowing myself to expand, allowing myself to say no, to say yes, to say I want less of this, I want more of that, to say all of this is a scam. I don't choose to live within the confines of the ideals that have been placed on me, because I am more than the law. I am more than the systems created on this 3D realm. We were not placed on planet Earth to work. We were placed on planet Earth to experience the human experience. You are already living your destiny. Your pulse is your purpose. My pulse is my purpose. Anyone who tells you differently probably wants you to work for them. In all seriousness, I hope that you can take something away from this video. I hope that it made you feel less alone. If you are someone who questions their existence and who feels like they need to have an answer that they can write in pencil on a piece of paper to feel valid within their human experience, it's just so important that you know that who you are is, was, and always will be enough. And it's a beautiful thing to go after the many hollerings of your heart, to listen to your curiosity, and to want to commit yourself to a life of self-discovery above commitment to one thing that keeps you in a small little box. We were made for more. I love you. Thank you for watching.